Hello, I hope you're well and that you are having a good fall so far. It's been a kind of odd fall season here because the weather has been really up and down. One day it's going to be kind of warm and the next day it's going to be freezing. So it's a little bit odd, especially since I was sure that we would be having a very early autumn, but then things kind of slowed down. Anyways, since we are in the middle of autumn, it is time for my October TBR. And who knows, maybe something on my TBR might pique your interest and you might want to pick up that book as well. So, let's just jump right in then. The first book on my October TBR is called Vespertine, and it's actually by an author from which I've read 2 books before, and I believe that's all she's written. And I really enjoyed both of them. One I loved more than the other, but they were both really interesting, and they are high fantasy, so if you are into that, I highly recommend that you check them out. Very briefly, my favorite out of the 2 is Sorcery of Thorns, and this book is a very dark academia vibe, and in this book we have a girl who is a librarian, and she takes care of very dangerous books who kind of have a mind of their own, and unless you take care of them really well, they can become very dangerous monsters. And the second book is a more of a traditional take on Fae and Fae courts, with there being a summer court, an autumn court, a winter court, and a... what did I miss? A spring court. That's the one. And that one I liked less, but I still highly recommend it, especially since I know a lot of people actually enjoyed that one more. Anyways, the new book that this author has written is coming out on October 5th. So pretty soon. I'm actually really excited to get my hands on this one and start reading it, because, as I said, I enjoyed A Sorcery of Thorns very much. I do remember that when I read the synopsis for this particular new book, though, it wasn't really as appealing for me, but I'm still really excited to read it just because I really like the author's other work. So let me just read you the synopsis. The Dead of Lorelai do not rest. Artemisia is training to be a Grey Sister, a nun who cleanses the bodies of the deceased so that their souls can pass on. Otherwise, they will rise as spirits with a ravenous hunger for the living. She would rather deal with the dead than with the living, who trade whispers about her scarred hands and troubled past. When her covenant is attacked by possessed soldiers, Artemisia defends it by awakening an ancient spirit bound to a saint's relic. It is a revenant, a malevolent being that threatens to possess her the moment she drops her guard. Wielding its extraordinary power almost consumes her, but death has come to Lorelai, and only a Vespertine, a priestess trained to wield a high relic, has any chance of stopping it. With all knowledge of Vespertine's lost to time, Artemisia turns to the last remaining expert for help, the Revenant itself. As she unravels a sinister mystery of saints, secrets, and dark magic, her bond with the Revenant grows, and when a hidden evil begins to surface, she discovers that facing this enemy might require her to betray everything she has been taught to believe, if the Revenant doesn't betray her first. So, this definitely sounds kind of interesting, but I wouldn't be as excited about it just based off the synopsis, again, if I hadn't enjoyed the author's previous work, just because it sounds like something that has been done quite a bit before. But regardless, I'm really excited about this, and I think I'm probably going to read it very close to the time that it gets released. The next 2 books on my TBR are Kingdom of the Wicked and Kingdom of the Cursed. I actually know that Kingdom of the Wicked came out some time ago, and people were raving about it and were really excited about it and giving it lots of very good reviews, so I have been wanting to read it for quite a while, and it's kind of been slowly trickling down my TBR until we have finally reached October, which is when the second part comes out. So I figured that now is actually the perfect time to pick up both the first and the second books. And let me just read you the synopsis for the first one. By the way, Kingdom of the Cursed comes out on October 26th. Okay, so, Kingdom of the Wicked. 2 sisters, one brutal murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself, and an intoxicating romance. So it's a romance. Okay. Emilia and her twin sister Vittoria are Strege, witches who live secretly among humans, avoiding notice and persecution. One night, Vittoria misses dinner service at the family's renowned Sicilian restaurant. Emilia soon finds the body of her beloved twin, desecrated beyond belief. Devastated, Emilia sets out to find her sister's killer and to seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means using dark magic that's been long forbidden. Then Emilia meets Wrath, one of the wicked, princes of hell she has been warned against in tales since she was a child. Wrath claims to be on Emilia's side, tasked by his master with solving the series of women's murders on the island. But when it comes to the wicked, nothing is as it seems. Honestly, this is another one where, just based off the synopsis, I could kind of take it or leave it, but I'm definitely going to pick this up because it has so many good reviews, and I'm excited. Next up, we have The Keeper of Night, and this comes out on October 12th, and I actually don't remember what this is about at all. I know that I read the synopsis because it is on my TBR, and I always read the synopsis for books on my TBR, unless I don't want to spoil the plot for myself for some reason, but since I don't know anything about this book, and I don't think I've ever read anything by this author, for all I know, this might be his or her debut novel, I'm sure I've read the synopsis before, and let me just refresh my memory and read it for you and myself again. Death is her destiny. Half British Reaper, half Japanese Shinigami, Ren Scarborough has been collecting souls in the London streets for centuries. Expected to obey the harsh hierarchy of the Reapers who despise her, Ren conceals her emotions and avoids her tormentors as best she can. When her failure to control her Shinigami abilities drives Ren out of London, she flees to Japan to seek the acceptance she's never gotten from her fellow Reapers. Accompanied by her younger brother, the only being on Earth to care for her, Ren enters the Japanese underworld to serve the goddess of death, only to learn that here too she must prove herself worthy. Determined to earn respect, Ren accepts an impossible task: find and eliminate 3 dangerous yokai demons, and learns how far she'll go to claim her place at Death's side. This sounds a bit more interesting, actually. I like the fact that there's some Japanese culture in this, I would assume, and I don't read too many books within that culture, so that is actually a major point in this book's favor. Other than that, it sounds like it could be interesting or it could be bad, but I guess we will find out. Next up is Little Thieves, and this comes out on October 19th. And I actually picked up this book. Sorry, I actually originally placed this book on my TBR just because of the cover. Or rather, I became interested in this book because of the cover. Of course, I also read the synopsis because if I had hated the synopsis, even if the cover was incredibly gorgeous, I still wouldn't put this book on my TBR. But I don't remember anything about the synopsis, so we're just going to read it together again. But the cover is just so beautiful, and it's just right up my alley. I just adore the art style. I love the darker colors. I really like it. Alright, so Little Thieves is about: once upon a time, there was a horrible girl. Vanya Schmidt knows that no gift is freely given, not even a mother's love. And she's on the hook for one hell of a debt. Vanya, the adopted goddaughter of Death and Fortune, was Princess Giselle's dutiful servant up until a year ago. That was when Vanya's otherworldly mothers demanded a terrible price for their care, and Vanya decided to steal her future back, by stealing Giselle's life for herself. The real Giselle is left a penniless nobody, while Vanya uses an enchanted string of pearls to take her place. Now, Vanya leads a lonely but lucrative double life as princess and jewel thief, charming nobility while emptying their coffers to fund her great escape. Then, one heist away from freedom, Vanya crosses the wrong god and is cursed to an untimely end, turning into jewels, stone by stone, for her greed. Vanya has just 2 weeks to figure out how to break her curse and make her getaway, and with a feral guardian half-god, Giselle's sinister fiancé, and an overeager junior detective on Vanya's tail, she'll have to pull the biggest grift yet to save her own life. So this actually sounds really interesting and really unique. Of course, it could still go either way, but I am actually really interested in this plot. So now I'm actually even more excited to pick this up, and not just because of the cover. Next up, we have a Spindle Splintered, and I believe that this author has actually written quite a few very popular novels before, but I haven't read any of them. But something about this one caught my attention, so let me just read you the synopsis. It's Xenia Gray's 21st birthday, which is extra special because it's the last birthday she'll ever have. When she was young, an industrial accident left Xenia with a rare condition. Not much is known about her illness, just that no one has lived past 21. Her best friend, Charm, is intent on making Xenia's last birthday special, with a full Sleeping Beauty experience, complete with a tower and a spinning wheel. But when Xenia pricks her finger, something strange and unexpected happens, and she finds herself falling through worlds with another Sleeping Beauty just as desperate to escape her fate. Okay, so this is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. Interesting. It could be interesting. I do really enjoy fantasy retellings of myths or just classic fairy tales, so I am actually really excited to pick this up now, although Sleeping Beauty is definitely not my favorite fairy tale, but still, this could be a lot of fun. Oh, and by the way, this comes out on October 5th. Next up, we have That Dark Infinity, which is another book that I placed on my TBR because of its absolutely beautiful cover. And of course, I did read the synopsis, but as you've probably guessed, I can't remember it, so let's just read it together now. By night, the Anku is a legendary, permanently young mercenary. By day, a witch's curse leaves him no more than bones. Caught in an unending cycle of death and resurrection, the Anku wants only to find the death that has been prophesied for him, especially once he begins to rot while he's still alive. After the kingdom of Kylie is sacked, Flora, loyal handmaiden to the princess, is assaulted and left for dead. As the sole survivor of the massacre, Flora wants desperately to find the princess she served. When the Anku agrees to help her find the princess and to train her in exchange for her help in breaking his curse, she accepts. But how can she kill an immortal, especially one whom she's slowly growing to understand and maybe even to love? Together they will solve mysteries, battle monsters, break curses, and race not only against time, but against fate itself. So this sounds like another kind of a fairy tale style book, and I really like those, so this sounds like it could be right up my alley. And maybe you're interested in this one as well, if you're into fairy tale fantasy style books. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but this actually comes out on October 19th. The next book on my TBR is A Shadow in the Ember, and this also comes out on October 19th. Now, I have very, very mixed feelings about this one, because I read the synopsis and it sounds kind of interesting. Also, I absolutely adore the cover, but I also read a few books from the author before, and I really, really didn't like them. So I'm kind of between giving this author another chance and skipping this book altogether, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to choose. But let me read you the synopsis anyways. Born shrouded in the veil of the primals, a maiden as the fates promised, Seraphina Muriel's future has never been hers. Chosen before birth to uphold the desperate deal her ancestor struck to save his people, Sarah must leave behind her life and offer herself to the primal of death as his consort. However, Sarah's real destiny is the most closely guarded secret in all of Lasagna. She's not the well-protected maiden, but an assassin with one mission, one target. Make the primal of death fall in love, become his weakness, and then end him. If she fails, she dooms her kingdom to a slow demise at the hands of the rot. Sarah has always known what she is. Chosen, consort, assassin, weapon. A spectre never fully formed, yet drenched in blood. A monster, until the primal of death's unexpected words and deeds chase away the darkness gathering inside her, and his seductive touch ignites a passion she's never allowed herself to feel and cannot feel for him. But Sarah has never had a choice. Either way, her life is forfeit. It always has been, as she has been forever touched by life and death. Honestly, now that I've read the synopsis again, I am leaning much more towards actually not reading this book, just because the synopsis didn't really catch my attention, and it seems like it's going to be very heavy on the sort of cheesier, at least in my opinion, romance that I really didn't like in the other books I read from this author, so we'll see. I am definitely a very big mood reader, so maybe the mood will strike and I will actually want to read this book, but so far I'm actually leaning towards no. But I'm still going to keep this on my TBR, just in case. Next up we have something which I believe is supposed to be a comedy, and it's the X Hex. And this actually comes out on September 28th, so depending on when this video goes live, this might actually already be out. But I'm filming this on... one second. On September 24th, so it's not out for me yet. So let me just read you the synopsis. 9 years ago, Vivian Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride-scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cause him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is until Reese Penhollow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and, annoyingly, just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Gravesglen, Georgia. What should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival turns disastrously wrong. With one calamity after another striking Reese, Vivi realizes her silly little X Hex may not have been so harmless after all. Suddenly, Gravesglen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Reese have to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late. So this could really go either way on the good or bad spectrum, but I'm hoping it's going to be good and fun, and it just sounds like a really light and easy little book to pick up to kind of lift my mood, or your mood if you're interested in this one as well. The next book on my TBR is Lakesedge, and this is actually another one that came out on September 28th. And it is also a book that originally caught my attention because of the cover, but after that I read the synopsis and I really liked it, so let me read it to you now. So this is supposed to be a lush, gothic fantasy about monsters and magics, set on the banks of a cursed lake, perfect for fans of Naomi Novik and Bridget Kramer. Now, I don't know anything about Bridget Kramer, but I'm actually a really big fan of Naomi Novik, so I think this is probably one of the things that made me want to pick up this book. Let's keep going. There are monsters in the world. When Violetta Graceling arrives at haunted Lakesedge estate, she expects to find a monster. She knows the terrifying rumors about Rowan Sylvan, who drowned his entire family when he was a boy. But neither the estate nor the monster are what they seem. There are monsters in the woods. As Letta falls for Rowan, she discovers he is bound to the Lord Under, the sinister death god lurking in the black waters of the lake, a creature to whom Letta is inexplicably drawn. There's a monster in the shadows, and now it knows my name. Now, to save Rowan and herself, Letta must confront the darkness in her past, including unraveling the mystery of her connection to the Lord Under. So, this sounds okay. Again, this sounds to me like it could go either way, like a lot of YA novels, but it could be really interesting, and the fact that it is great for fans of Naomi Novik actually really caught my attention, and now I am really excited to read this. And that is actually everything I have to share with you today. This is actually one of my shorter TBRs, but I don't know, this just feels right for some reason for this month. And I feel like I might just pick up a whole bunch of horror books here and there if I'm kind of feeling in the mood for it. Just because I don't read a lot of horror, but it's going to be October, so it might be fun to kind of give a few horror novels a shot. Also, it's getting very, very dark, so I think it's very much time for me to wrap up this video. I hope that you had an amazing month and that you have an amazing October. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!